So, Mouth is what he was called as a nickname of the fraternity. He has a lot to say, but a lot of good things too. I'm going to be brief so you have more time to talk too. I met Luke several years ago at a cane scan fraternity recruitment events, and we had some time together, and I learned very quickly he's the kind of person we wanted to join the fraternity. Motivated, very energized about doing something good. And I learned very quickly also he's got very strong roots and good foundation and good relationship with his family. And that was really important as well. So fast forward a little bit, he was joined the fraternity, he was voted on by his peers as a president, moving into graduation, and all those traits stayed consistent through college, and we wanted to hire him. And so we were getting ready to try to interview Luke for a leadership program, and someone else who he had impressed swooped in and hired him, and happened to be a Barton alumni, fraternity alumni as well, and it worked out really good. And since then he's been very successful in the general contracting business. One of those industries that you learn quick, fail quick, very busy, and he's been so successful in his current role. He's started his own company. For someone that young is very impressive, and so really there's no surprise why he's getting this award today. So I'm gonna give it to you, Luke Costanza.
Whit, thank you so much for those kind words. The first thing I want to tell everyone is it would not be possible for me to be here if it wasn't for my family, my friends, and the rest of the Barton community that from the moment I stepped on this campus made me feel home. I was born in Philadelphia, grew up in Wake Forest, and live in Raleigh, but Wilson will always be home to me. Anytime anybody asks me where I'm from, I live on 902 Gold Street, and it's a special experience to know that no matter where you go, you will always have family and friends, and that has been very, very important to me, and I want to make sure that that experience gets passed on to the next undergraduates come through here. And my experience here has been wonderful because of all you alumni that are out here, the faculty that we have here on campus. My parents have done more than I could ever have imagined for me growing up to allow me to have the opportunities that I've had. My aunt and my uncle, my grandmother, my girlfriend, and especially my fraternity brothers there in the back. I thank you guys more than you could ever imagine for putting up with me and my mouth. One other person I really want to take some time to thank, really more than anything, is Tony Tilley. When I stepped on this campus as a freshman, I didn't know which way was right, which way was wrong, and Tony very quickly got me centered in that environment and made sure that if I did stray, I didn't stray too far. Tony has done more for me at this campus than anyone else, and I know I'm not the only student that shares that thought process. And so just want to tell Tony how much I appreciate everything you've done for me, not only in my undergraduate career, but what you've done for me in my postgraduate career. The last person I really want to make sure I reach out and thank is Warren Smith. Warren can't be here today because he's rooting our Wolfpack on against Notre Dame tonight. But I met Warren, just like Whit, at that alumni tailgate, and instantly became friends. And we communicated all the way through college as a mentor for me. And right about February, when I was getting ready to graduate, he calls me up and asked me if I wanted a job. And I said, Warren, what am I going to do for you? I don't know how to build houses. He said, don't worry about it. Once you get here, we'll figure it out. And Warren has not only been a brother to me here at the fraternity, a boss, but he's been one of my best friends. And it is very rare that you can say one individual can meet all three of those criteria. And so while this award is being given to me today, I wouldn't be available or able to get this award if it wasn't for all the people that I mentioned before. And so I really want to make sure that I thank all you guys for all your help and time that you spent with me. The last thing I want to kind of address out there to all the rest of the alumni, we have an obligation to provide the same experience for the next set of students that are coming through Barton that we had here. And it is our responsibility to not only step up financially, but with mentorships and with support of the college. I can't tell you how excited I get when I'm driving down 401 or 40 or roads in Rawlings, I see somebody with a Barton College sticker. I'll roll my window down and scream and ask them when they graduated or whatnot, or whether I'm walking through downtown and I've got a Barton hat on or a sweatshirt and someone stops me and asks me, did you go to Barton or ACC? And those things are important. So I will challenge all you alumni here in this room, and also challenge you to connect with the folks that you graduated with to make sure that we continue to give back to this college and allow the next set of students to have the same opportunities that I had and that we had while we were here. Barton is a family through and through, and families got to stay together, and we have to make sure we support the next generation of our family. So just want to say thank you again to everybody, and this award means more to me than I can truly express in words. So thank you very much.
Congratulations, Luke. Now I'd like to invite Jason Gipe to the stage for our next presentation.
Vertically gifted. Good morning. First, I want to congratulate Luke, and as a fundraiser, those are some very good words you just gave the crowd right there, so thank you for that. Before I get started, I'm Jason Gipe. Most of you in the room remember me as a former fundraiser here at Barton. Before I get started, though, I want to apologize to Keith, too, as he's taking pictures of Summer. She may not smile as much because I'm trying to grow, trying being the key word, and she told me that I needed to find a razor before I came to do this again. So, as I said, I'm Jason Gipe. Did 2 tours here at Barton in the fundraising office, and have left. But every time I come back here, I always find that the bulldog in my heart is never too far away. This is a special place, and the lady that I'm talking about this morning helped make this a special place. Let's go back to 2006. I was teaching school in Wake County. Came up to interview for a position and didn't get that position. It was the alumni director job. Got a phone call back a couple of weeks later, said, we've got a fundraising position. We think you've got some good skills for that. 11 years later, I'm still doing the same thing. Very, very rewarding, and I really thank this place for giving me a break into a field that I'm truly passionate about. But let's go back to that alumni director position that I didn't get. We interviewed for that position and came down to 2 candidates, and I'll never forget talking about Summer as we were trying to make that decision on who we were going to hire. And I told Caroline Hart, I said, I think I can learn more from Summer Brock than I can from the other candidate we had. And boy, was I ever right. She's been here for, 2006? What month? August of 2006 is when she came. She came in and immediately had to plan for homecoming for that October. We had been without an alumni director here at Barton for, I guess, probably about 9 months before that. So that first homecoming, she didn't even bat an eye. She'd been doing this for a number of years at other places. Came right in, and that first year, I think 50, 60 people. We had some separate events in different things. I know our fraternities always got together, but they were always very disjointed. It always felt like they were doing their own thing across different places on campus. Summer immediately came in and rallied, kind of rallied the troops, got the alumni board. So we went from 50 or 60 those first couple of years to over 600, 700 people. And I'm sitting here, I'm dumbfounded standing in front of this group right now, because this group right here is together because of all the work Summer did from 2006 on. Now that's a true testament to what kind of professional she is. You know, what kind of friend she is, and what kind of mentor she is, and what kind of mom she is, goes even deeper. She didn't know me from Adam's house cat. She didn't have to show me anything, but she always had her door open, and just like she does. And it's funny, I sit there and I look at Rachel, and I look at Mr. Walston back there. Spanning generations, she's always had her door open and always had people there and she's either learning from or teaching to. I think Mr. Walston would even agree that she's probably taught him a few things. So, Haley's got an amen. So, I can't thank her enough, and I could not think of a person that is more deserving. I told her I wasn't going to make her cry, and I'm hoping I'm holding true to that. But I can't think of anybody who deserves this award more than my mom, Summer Brock. You need me to move that down?
6'5". Thank you, Jason. Oh, the stories I could tell.
I was nice.
Yeah, you were. I fully understand what Gary Hall meant about what happens when committees meet without you. Tracy is on the Nominations and Awards Committee, and she didn't call me. She emailed me and said, "You didn't turn it down. You can't. You're not getting out of this one, Summer." It is a privilege to receive this award named in Gary Hall's honor. Well, since I'm the one who gets to tell everybody else how much time they have to speak, I will adhere to one myself. Note, please, that I did not say how long that might be. Alumni directors and development officers are not born. We don't grow up saying, when I grow up, I want to be an alumni director. It's just not one of the options when you take those career interest tests. Instead, we're formed by good mentors who teach us to genuinely care for others and to love the stories we hear. We remember names, we memorize college histories, and most importantly, we have the ability to not share everything that you tell us. It's a career about which you become passionate or you don't stay in it a long time. It took me 35 years to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. It was like a light bulb going off. And I knew that I had found my calling. Through 5 colleges in 3 states, I have accumulated a Rolodex of names that makes the Hallmark store drool when it's time for me to buy a Christmas card. I like to believe that it took me 5 colleges to find the right one. Thank you, A.J. Walston, for going behind my back to nominate me for this award. Thank you, Alumni Board of Directors, for choosing me. And thank you, Barton College.
All right, now I would like to ask Daughety. I think she's already made her way up here for our next presentation.
I'm not losing any minutes talking by walking up here. Summer's already put me on my watch. I first met Linda Hanna when I was 13. She was my youth minister and youth choir leader at First Christian Church during her junior year as a religion major at AC. An accomplished musician and organist, she made sure we all felt included, whether our voices were pitch perfect or often not. She made sure we had a place at the table on Sunday evenings, and that made all the difference. Her influence was huge, and her role modeling was an example for all of us. When we reconnected in later years, she had become the Reverend Linda Hanna Rawlings, and she was still influencing others in powerful, purposeful ways. I think perhaps the influences at AC had helped her to hone those instinctive skills. The likes of Paul Sell, Harris, Purcell, Bullard, Hensley, Sharp, and of course Sarah Bain Ward. Linda learned their lessons well. Then, while completing her Master of Divinity degree at TCU's Bright Divinity School, she met Dr. Bill Tucker, yet another AC grad and professor who became the chancellor of TCU. He too influenced the path of Linda's life's journey. We talk a lot about our students having a place at the table and serving the greater good. Her call to ordained ministry incorporated these core principles from the very beginning. From her collegiate involvement on campus to her eventual ministry, she understood the importance of gathering around the table, whether an altar table, a dining room table, a conference table. Linda has always understood the importance of others having a voice. In recent years, Linda was honored by the White House as one of the 10 champions of change who were dedicated to improving success in healthcare. She was serving as the executive director of Faithful Reform in Healthcare, the largest interfaith coalition working for a healthcare future that embraced an inclusive, accessible, affordable, and accountable system of healthcare in the U.S. Others were brought together at the table to serve the greater good as she founded this coalition in 2007. She had previously served for 7 years as the Faith Project Director at the Universal Healthcare Action Network. She has co-authored Seeking Justice in Healthcare, a guide of advocates and faith communities, and has written numerous articles, study resources, and toolkits for advocates. She is a past senior advisor for healthcare at the Disciples Center for Public Witness in Washington and a chair of the Disciples Division of Higher Education, among other leadership roles. When her husband Gary was called to serve as the senior minister at First Christian Church in Wilson, Linda also answered a new call in her ministry. Since July 2012, as executive director of Wilson County Interfaith Services, better known to Wilsonians as Hope Station, Linda has found herself overseeing the ministry of a 30-year program that provides 7,000 plus shelter nights in a 20-bed emergency shelter for 135 different men this year. And more than 2,200 families have been served by the food pantry just this year. These numbers reflect significant increases since her arrival, and new programs include a rapid rehousing effort to move the homeless into permanent, sustainable housing, as well as the development of a client choice pantry, which also supports educating these clients to make healthier food choices. In addition, Linda oversees financial assistance for families experiencing an emergency, and in recent years, she's been able to identify talent within the population of the shelter and to help hire them. She often burns the midnight oil to meet a grant deadline, and her success in bringing in grant money has meant thousands upon thousands of extra dollars annually for Hope Station and its growing ministry. In fact, the Hope Station's board has recently approved the development of the first and only family shelter from Wilson, a much needed and long overdue exciting project. And we are very excited about what that's going to mean for our community. Linda's call to ministry has been a life's journey to lift up those in need so that they, in turn, can improve their own quality of life. She has fought for justice in health care for the disenfranchised and raised funds for food and shelter for the disadvantaged. She sees a need and she finds a way to make a positive difference at local, regional, and national levels. With a supportive and passionate Hope Station Board of Directors and an enthusiastic team of volunteers, she now rallies this community for fundraising events that have become beloved annual traditions. She encourages and empowers those around the table to serve the greater good, and she has set the stage for long-term growth for this much-needed organization in the Wilson community. She has truly distinguished herself in her chosen field of endeavor, and it is for these and many other reasons that it's my privilege to present the 2017 Alumni Achievement Award to Linda Hanna Rawlings.
Thank you, Kathy, for your kind introduction. I think I like your description of my life better than my own description of my life. Words are really inadequate to express my gratitude for this award. So I want to thank you for this recognition, but because I see it as more than a recognition. It's really a gift that culminates a host of blessings that have come my way from this institution over the years. 45 years ago, guess I was one of the ones with the 4 or the 2 end of my graduation year. 45 years ago, my parents made it possible for me to be 600 miles away from home to attend college. It was rare at that point for people to go that far away to school. But it wasn't long before the religion and philosophy faculty, my Phi sisters, and the extended community known to me through First Christian Church became a new sense of home for me. I came here believing that a degree from this college, from one of our church schools in the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, would give me the tools to fulfill my lifelong dream of becoming a youth director. But because of a religion faculty that saw something in me that I did not see in myself, because of professors that urged me not to allow myself to be limited by the norms of the time, I ended up in the first wave of women entering Bright Divinity School at Texas Christian University. But before I walked down that path, a motorcycle riding chaplain, Dan Hensley, taught me about the human and joyful side of ministry. And Roger Bullard opened my eyes and my heart to understanding Scripture in ways unmatched by any future seminary professor. The whole religion faculty prepared me for a very special time at Bright Divinity School. And there was so much more. Forever etched in my memory was the moment following the fire in my dorm suite. As I sat in my room inventorying the damage on that cold, wet January day in 1972, Dean Whitehurst, who had been a rock in supporting all of us, walked into the room with a bulging envelope stuffed full of money. You see, his oh so sweet 13-year-old daughter, after hearing about the fire, emptied her piggy bank so that the third floor Phi sisters could buy toothbrushes and toothpaste. Thank you, Kathy Whitehurst Daughety, for your inspiration then and now. On a lighter side, I give Atlantic Christian College credit for my engagement to Gary Walling. When the college was seeking a new chaplain in 1980, I received a letter asking if I would be interested in applying for that position. It took no time to respond, absolutely. Well, Gary and I were dating in Texas, Fort Worth and Dallas, Texas. We were dating. And his response was, aren't we going to talk about this? And my response was, do we have something to talk about? And 2 weeks later, we were engaged. Gary acts as though he never saw the letter. But needless to say, I did not apply for the position, so that Gary and I could begin our journey into 37 years of partnership in marriage and ministry, and in parenting two great kids, Kristen and Ryan. Thank you, Atlantic Christian. And thank you, Gary, for accepting the call to ministry at First Christian Church, which allowed me to reconnect with this college and this community. I'll tell you, when you prayed for the mighty bulldog, when our church welcomed Dr. Foushee to the community, you became a bulldog too. To conclude, I was raised in Mirror Lake Christian Church in St. Petersburg, Florida. And I adored a very special older woman, Frances Melton Lemon. When I made known my decision to come to Atlantic Christian College, she gave me this plate. Most of you haven't seen it because we can't find another one. It seems to be the only one around. She said it would mean nothing to her children, but she knew I would cherish it. You see, her father, Reverend Benjamin Melton, was the minister of First Christian Church here in Wilson when Atlantic Christian College was founded. And this plate was cast in commemoration of that event. Like this plate that has come full circle to its permanent return to the college, with my return to Wilson, I feel like I have come home, in part to give back to a college and to a community that gave so much to me. I cherish the opportunities when my work at Hope Station and the Barton community intersect. So thank you, thank you, thank you, from the depths of my heart for this award and for the many ways in which I have been blessed by this community and by Barton College. Thank you.
That's going to be tough to follow, but I get the honor now to do the next presentation for our other Alumni Achievement Award for 2017 for Liles Foushee. If you are an avid runner, you understand the necessary preparation that goes into planning for a race. When you begin this insane hobby, you start with short distance goals and you work your way through a lengthier challenge, building up your speed and endurance with every step. I have a friend who understands this process very well, and her name is Leigh, also known as Flat Leigh. The night before a race, Leigh routinely lays out her clothes, her shoes, her participant number, her wristwatch, her earbuds, all on the bed to show that Flat Leigh is ready for the challenge the next morning. She posts these pictures online, and I always look forward to looking forward to what Flat Leigh is going to look like the next day in her race. Those of us who know Leigh are not surprised at all that even when it comes to running, she is focused, well organized, and that she has applied the same mindset during her course of career. In August of 1993, Leigh left Gardner, North Carolina, to begin her journey as a college student at Barton College, where she received an academic scholarship and grant to continue her volleyball career at a collegiate level. I met Leigh during our freshman year as we both were pursuing Greek life, becoming Tri Sigma sorority sisters through the process. In 1996, Leigh had completed all of the biology and chemistry requirements necessary to apply for pharmacy school and was accepted into the program at Campbell University. While her Barton family was sad to see her go, we knew this next step was necessary for Leigh to pursue her goal of becoming a pharmacist. And in 2000, Leigh graduated cum laude from the School of Pharmacy at Campbell, earning her doctorate degree. After completing her residency in 2001, Leigh began her career as a wellness coordinator and staff pharmacist at Medicap Pharmacy, back in her hometown of Garner, while also taking on roles as a clinical instructor, residency preceptor, and assistant clinical professor at Campbell and the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill Schools of Pharmacy. In 2009, Leigh was hired as the first pharmacy practitioner to join the practice at Benson Area Medical Center. This role enabled Leigh to dive deeper into the educational and functional side of pharmacy as she developed practice protocols and agreements, coordinated medication management for complex patients, and served as a preceptor and elective site for pharmacy students and residents. In 2012, Leigh accepted an academic appointment as a clinical associate professor with the Campbell University College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, where she was a course master for the Medication Therapy Management elective and primary advisor for the class of 2018. Leigh also advised 3 of the largest student organizations: the American Pharmacists Association Academy of Student Pharmacists, Kappa Psi Fraternity, and the Professional Alumni Student Association. With her experience, knowledge, and passion for the campus and student body, it was no surprise that in February 2013, Leigh became the Director of Alumni Relations for the Campbell University College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. Over the next 4 years, Leigh spent her days planning, coordinating, and implementing events and activities to create networking opportunities for alumni and faculty and students, aid in fundraising efforts for student scholarships, and serving as the Executive Director of the College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences Alumni Association Board of Directors. Throughout the course of her career, to date, Leigh has conducted 42 professional presentations for the likes of the North Carolina Association of Pharmacists and the American Pharmacy Association, and numerous continuing education conferences and seminars, as well as being publicated 16 times related to pharmaceutical journals, abstracts, and newsletters. She has been the recipient of several honors and awards, such as the Pharmacist Mutual Distinguished Young Pharmacist Award in 2006, the North Carolina Association of Pharmacists President's Service Award in 2014, and the Campbell University College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences Alumni Association Distinguished Alumni of the Year Award. That had to be a huge flag. In 2016, just to name a few. The professional service membership list included in her 10-page resume was a page and a half in length all on its own. Yeah, let that sink in a second. Her resume is 10 pages full of credentials, awards, and criteria associated to her degree. After reading it, I am pretty sure that I am qualified to now have at least an associate's degree as a pharmacist. This past summer, Leigh felt a tugging at her heart to return and resign from her position with Campbell and return to the race where it all began, being a pharmacist, which would allow for more time with her family, being active with her church ministry team, and also assisting and cheering on her daughters as they play in volleyball and other sports, and her newfound avid love of running. After 23 years of friendship, I know my friend well enough to say that with all of the degrees, certifications, presentations, publications, and honors, the greatest achievements in her life are marrying the love of her life, Eugene, and having her 2 beautiful daughters, Maddie and Meredith. I imagine last night that at the Foushee house, there was a flat Leigh with a dress, jewelry, and shoes, everything laid out on the bed with her speech, and that awaiting this journey today where she was most deserving of becoming one of the recipients of the Alumni Achievement Award for 2017. It is an honor and privilege with the utmost respect that I welcome my friend, my sister, Liles Foushee, to receive this award.
Not only was there a flat Leigh, there was a flat Eugene, a flat Meredith, and a flat Maddie. I am very honored and very much beyond grateful to be recognized by the leadership of this college, the alumni of this college, and the campus community. Barton is the best decision that I almost didn't make. I had plans. My 17, 18-year-old self had a whole different plan for my life. And it wasn't until Coach Wendy Saintsing entered the picture and my dad saying, you really need to go down there and meet with Coach Saintsing to see what Barton's about, to give it a try, give it a fair chance, and just see, just humor me. So thanks, Dad, for making me get up really, really early on a Saturday morning after I had been at a high school basketball game cheering on my friends to come down here and work out with the Barton College volleyball team. That changed my course and changed my path and has made it all the better and all the more rich. During my time at Barton, I made a lot of friends. I made some of the very best friends I have in my life. Through Coach Saintsing, I met Jenna, who is one of the first people that I met here. Jenna Viscuse at the time was one of my volleyball teammates and later would become my sorority sister and has become a great friend and a great mentor to my daughter Maddie, who is following in the footsteps and playing volleyball, and maybe my daughter Meredith, who might explore volleyball. I made friends in Winger Dorm, where I spent my first year here. I made a huge number of friends in Hilly Dorm, my second year here, as I moved up on the sorority floor with my Tri Sigma sisters. I had tremendous guidance from the entire science department. Dr. Coolbaugh, bless his heart, he endured the 12 of us that were in his organic chemistry class, and somehow we all managed to pass. Mr. Graham, Paul Demchick, and Jane Calooney. They were some of the very instrumental mentors that helped me reach the accomplishments that I had while I was here and prepared me more than adequately for the things that I would face in pharmacy school. On a personal side, the direction and counsel from my academic advisor, Dr. Ranganathan, and Kathy Daughety on the Sigma side were very instrumental in helping an only child who had never really been away from home adjust to not only a roommate, that was interesting, to a life full of Sigma sisters and having 40-some sisters. My Sigma family has given me so much. Their influence and lessons and shenanigans, I'm glad you didn't talk about the shenanigans, have shaped me more than any other influences in the course of my lifetime. Overall, Barton College molded me academically to be very successful in pharmacy school. It taught me to take chances, see opportunities where others might have missed them or haven't noticed them yet, and to lead boldly. Barton nurtured a heart to teach and serve and mentor others. Finally, I'm so very thankful to share all of this with my amazing and supportive family. My parents have always been there. I was very, very blessed. I have 4 parents, and they all get along incredibly well, which is highly unusual. The upside of that is they all get along very, very well, and they love me unconditionally. The downside of that is when I was in trouble, there was nowhere to hide. But they let me find my own way. They were my biggest cheerleaders and my biggest advocates, and I couldn't do anything that I've done without you guys. Eugene and my daughters, they love me on my good days, and they tolerate me on my rough ones, and they smile through it all. They let me chase my unicorns and my rainbows, and at the end of the day, they're just glad to see me and glad that I'm home. I am very proud to be part of their family, and I'm very proud to be part of the Barton family, and I thank you very, very deeply for this honor. Thank you.
And now I invite Kim Rawlings to come to the podium for our final awards day.
Thank you, Tracy. I married the next recipient 30 years ago this month. Yeah, many of you know that's big. Also, this is the first time I've had the chance to stand on this side of the podium and not be in the audience. And those of you know Russell, he's nervous. He's very nervous. He's got no clue what's coming out of my mouth. But also, many of you in this room should be very nervous because you don't know what I might tell or what I might say to really demonstrate how much devotion and commitment Russell has to this college. Just briefly to recap his resume, he started back when he was a student here and graduated in 1978, where he was a sports information director part-time. He did that after he graduated and figured out how to cover Atlantic Christian sports and follow Tom Parham across the country with tennis championships. After that, he started to work here. Oh, I forgot one key thing. After the great Tom Parham left, he even coached tennis at Barton, the men's tennis team. Can you imagine following that legacy? But then he worked here for over more than 10 years, where he was part of the Barton gang with Kathy Darling, Morgan Darling, Bobby White, Keith Chu. The list goes on and on. Greg Aviunas, all of those folks that have made impact on students' lives over the years. He also tonight will be emceeing the Hall of Fame banquet for almost the 30th time. So, and then he's been on the Board of Trustees for 7 years. But you get his resume. But what's really impressive is what Barton College Atlantic Christian has given back to Russell. And when I started reflecting over our 30 years, I realized it is a part of not just his life, but my life and our lives. And Dr. Searcy, he personifies the Barton experience and what has been given to him. So not only what he's given, but mentors like Dr. Hemby. Just this week, he quoted something he learned from Dr. Hemby that he used at work. Tom Parham, there's no doubt he was a mentor. If Tom Parham had not approved of our relationship, we would not be married today. That is a fact. But then the Alpha Sigs, oh my, the Alpha Sigs. If I had an emergency with Russell today, I could call on any one of them and they'd be there by our sides and by his side. But he also gets a lot out of that. I remember when we were first married, he said, I'm going to the beach with the Alpha Sigs. I said, that's awesome. I thought, how great that brotherhood still carries on. 30 years later, every year he goes to the beach with Alpha Sigs, and now he drags Luke along as well, who is our adopted son. I'm so proud of you, by the way. And on top of that, the Barton gang. How many of you work for companies that you really want to go back and hang out with the people you work with? He has managed to get 2 trips out of a year to the mountains with Bobby White and the Barton gang. So 3 years he gets out of his Atlantic Christian Barton College experience. I can't tell you how many friends he has from here that he's still friends with, that are part of his life, our life. And there have been times I go, why? I don't get it. I love my alma mater, but it's just incredible the love you have for this college, the love for the people that make up this college. And I'm so proud of you, and I love you. Russell Rawlings.
Wow. I love you too. We have just found out how to get over your anxiety of public speaking. You let your wife introduce you. The Queen's Speech. I don't know how to follow that, but I'm going to. It has been such a wonderful experience being a part of the Barton College family. I think back to my sports writing days. There was a football coach at Duke University, assistant coach, and I asked him one day, I said, how do you recruit against all these other colleges when the kids know that school is going to be so much harder than the other schools? And he said very simply, I don't sell them on the next 4 years. I tell them it's about the next 40 years of their life after college. And I'm a living testament to that theory. I don't mind telling you, Dr. Cersei, because the statute of limitations has run out. I didn't really ski my way to an A on Appalachian Mountain. But I've written enough English papers to be in the Library of Congress. We adopted the Jim Valvano theory at the Alpha House, survive and advance. And whereas individually the credits on those transcripts might not actually belong to the people who did the work, collectively we all graduated and we all went to college here. And that's what counts the most. I want to congratulate the other honorees, Luke, Summer, Leigh. Sorry about that. Miss Liles, all of you. I've had a lot of nicknames in my life, but Flat was never one of them. I've spent the last 40 years of my life obsessing over what goes in my mouth. And I have learned through that time that it's what goes into my heart that matters. I look around this room, there's a story behind every face. From my family, my friends, my colleagues, I just have to count on you to know how much I love you and how grateful I am for everything you have meant to me. And also to you, Barton College, I say that tenfold, because I cannot imagine my life without having experienced what Barton is all about and Atlantic Christian College is all about. And not just the faces in this room, but also the places when I walk across this campus, some of which no longer exist, like Caldwell Hall. I can remember our mother driving us over here to sing for our Halloween candy when Janie Johnson was running the dormitory, the women's dorm. I can still hear her right now, man on the hall. And I'm about that tall walking down the hall here. Gonna get me some candy. And there are so many stories that I have told and that you have heard. But I'm going to finish with one you haven't heard. And the class of 67, this is most appropriate that you're here for this. Because it was November 11th, 1966. A day not unlike today, except for it was a little bit cooler. I remember the day well because it was my 11th birthday. And I was getting a bicycle for my birthday. And not just any bicycle, but a Swin Stingray with a banana seat. I'd already picked it out, metallic green. Hell's Angels, watch out, here I come. Well, Wilson folks will remember that if you wanted a bicycle, you had to go to Moss Bicycle Shop. And it was the most ingenious design for a business there's ever been. They didn't have a front door. They didn't have steps. They had a ramp. And the ramp went up for Mr. Moss to take the bicycles in. And when you bought it, you rode it down the ramp. And so I'm picking out my bike, and Daddy's transacting the business with Mr. Moss. And he offers to help me put it in the trunk so we can take it home. I said, no, I'm good, Daddy. I can get home. And I jumped on that bicycle and I went down that ramp right out into Tarboro Street and just pedaling as fast as I could go. Had no destination whatsoever. And I go a couple of blocks and I realize there's a lot of stuff going on in downtown Wilson on a Saturday morning. there's a float, there's a band, there's all these people lining the streets. And I realized then I'm right in the middle of the Atlantic Christian College Homecoming Parade. And I'm trying to figure out how to get out of it, but back then, if there was a parade in Wilson, you went. If it was the college, the high school, the Shriners, Christmas, you went. And I was just about to figure out how to get out of this thing, and one of my friends said to their mom, "Hey Mama, there goes Russell riding in the AC Homecoming Parade." Well, it was on then. You couldn't have got me out of there with the jaws of life. I'm pedaling, I'm doing wheelies, I'm circling the band, I'm circling the floats. I'm having the time of my life. And I didn't get out of that line until we got down here to the campus where everything kind of broke up. And the fraternity brothers went to their houses and the sorority sisters went to their houses and everybody kind of made their own way. And I'm sitting there on my bicycle in the middle of the campus all by myself. I don't want it to end. I want the Atlantic Christian College Homecoming Parade to go on forever. And I hope it does.